Three things in life are guaranteed: death, taxes, and something extremely strange happening every time there's a Thursday night football game. You're watching The Perfect Lineup, where Josh Engleman and myself, Dave Loughran, look to take down a tournament with one of the beauties we build in this here video. As always, I'll lay the foundation, build out the core. Josh will take it over to the single lineup sims and let that do the rest of the work. Look, if nothing else, this is a quality thought experiment so we can see what type of builds make the most sense, will get us the most leverage, and put us in the greatest position to succeed each and every slate, be it a main slate or a showdown. So let's get into the video. And of course, before we do, if you want a free week of Sims Max for NFL, that includes everything we have: the sims, the single lineup sims, ownership projections, all that good stuff. Simply leave a comment down below. Tell me who you think is going to win this game and by how much. For example, you say Broncos by 12 or Raiders by 3. If you're right, free week of the Sims could be headed your way. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. Let's get into it. All right, so we know weird stuff happens all the time. And not just on main slates, but to be honest, that's a lot less important on main slates, because if something odd happens, it doesn't really kill your slate. You know, it might make a slate for you if you happen to hit on, one or a super 2-3 low percent owned guy. But generally speaking, when you've got a large amount of games, you don't have to do as much weird stuff. You can get a little bit different, a little cute here or there, and it can make all the difference in the world. Whereas with showdowns, if only one game on the slate doesn't go the way you're projecting it to, everything you've built could be dead before it starts. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something more traditional in the first build, and then the second build, we're going to get strange. In the third build, well, we'll do a little bit in between and let the sims do the most of the work there. But for the first one, look, let's stay grounded for this one. I want to try and kind of shoehorn in a 5-1 build in each of our first two lineups, except we're going to reverse them. So in the first one, we're going to throw Courtland Sutton in at captain. Yes, he is a frustrating player. Nobody knows that as much as I do. And you guys know I know that for sure over the years. But he's still a talented player. He's still one of the best end zone threats in football. And between him and Troy Franklin, those guys are the only two players on the team with a 20+% target share. The Raiders do not have a good secondary, and Marvin Mims remains sidelined for the second straight game. So there are paths to Courtland Sutton having a big game here. Is he a little bit expensive? Kind of. But not many people wanted to play Marvin Harrison at captain last week. And what did I say? Look, this guy is being left for dead. He's got a great matchup finally after a string of bad ones. He has a great game. It isn't always going to work, but in this spot, let's go Courtland Sutton captain, and because I don't expect double-digit captain ownership here. And then we're going to throw in Bo Nix, Evan Ingram, and the Broncos D. I'm hoping to get a 5-1 here, and I think we will. We'll run it at 0% randomness because we're going for the onslaught. Look, Evan Ingram isn't seeing a massive workload, but he is third in target share on the Broncos. He is still extraordinarily cheap on a slate like this, where, look, if things do go and play as planned and play to the spread, well, you know what? They're 9.5-point home favorites on a short week. Evan Ingram could absolutely get involved. Broncos defense, for the very same reason. This team has 40 sacks on the season. No other team has more than 28 sacks on the year. They have the highest pressure rate when they bring 4. They have the second highest in the league when they bring 5. They can get to the quarterback. The turnovers haven't been there this year. The touchdowns on defense haven't been there. But that is such a volatile, unpredictable stat that you may see it tonight if things go the way we plan. Let's see if we can grab a 5-1 here and see what happens.
Alrighty, we are in the single lineup sim. Raiders, Broncos, and Loughy just started us off with a doozy. Lots of Broncos here, no Raiders. Courtland Sutton into the captain spot. Bo Nix, Evan Ingram, Broncos D, who I'm pretty sure Loughy bet on to score a touchdown today. You can check that out on Tails, by the way. We've got $15,200 remaining to fill out these final two spots. We're not using any randomness. I'm very curious to see who our Raiders representative is going to be. Or do we get 2 Raiders? We're going to find out when I click complete this lineup. We'll get the optimal 2 plays. And it ends up being 1 Raider. That ends up being Brock Bowers, Will Lutz into the lineup. $400 remaining. We're projected for about 84 fantasy points, just north of 207 ownership points. We're going to click Run Lineup Simulation, and that'll tell us how good this one looks. I'm feeling good. Not too shabby of a start. 64% sim ROI, 0.4% chance to win, 3.6% chance of a top 10 lineup, and a 35% cash rate. That's a pretty solid start if you're on the side of the Broncos.
Perfect lineup number 2. Okay, yes, we're getting weird. I mentioned shoehorning in some 5-1s. I am going to guarantee that we get a 5-1 Raiders here. And some of you may be going, oh, how could you do that? You know what? Listen, dude. Then you haven't played Showdown before. Not you personally. Most of you guys are going, it doesn't make sense, which means it kind of makes sense. Like last week, were the Cardinals and Dallas Cowboys, both defenses, were they in the optimal? You better believe it. Did that game have a 53.5 point total? Sure did, because it's a primetime game. Happens all the time. Anyway, Brock Bowers at captain. Need I say more? It's funny. Last time these two teams faced each other, their second meeting last season, given that they're divisional opponents, Vance Joseph mentioned, he goes, Brock Bowers got the best of us the first time we played, so I stuck Patrick Surtain on him the second time. Yeah, that's the type of threat Brock Bowers is, that you've got your shutdown defensive player of the year cornerback shadowing Brock Bowers. But here's the thing. Patrick Surtain's out again today. So Brock Bowers could feast unless Vance Joseph finds a way around it, which is possible. But at the same time, we're going to have some of him at captain. And if we're going with a 5-1 Raiders stack, he's by far the best option. I'm going to go Geno, and then we're going to throw Ashton Genty in here. We're going to go Raiders D. You know what? Why not? Why not? And we're going to throw Courtland Sutton in at the flex. Now, we're not guaranteeing the 5-1 here because we might get someone else. But we're going to run it on 0% randomness. My guess is with the salary remaining here, it's going to be Michael Mayer, who I actually like a lot tonight as well. Played 83% of snaps last game. Ran a route on 72% of dropbacks, was targeted on 23% of routes run, and was second in targets behind only Brock Bowers in that overtime loss to the Raiders, or the Jaguars. Not to mention, Jacoby Myers is gone. Tyler Lockett's pretty dusty, and then you've got Dante Thornton Jr. and Jack Best, two rookies who very likely don't just jump in to the Jacoby Myers role. So I think, you may see a Michael Mayer situation here where he ends up being productive enough, and I personally think he's underpriced. So if we can get some 5-1s, let's go ahead and see if it works.
Well, this is certainly a different lineup for lineup number 2, because if you're a Raiders fan today, this one's for you. Brock Bowers into the captain spot. Geno Smith is here. Genty's here. Raiders D. Courtland Sutton. That's how Loughy started us off. I'm a little curious why he didn't just give us the flex play as well, considering we know right now that it's Michael Mayer. We can see it on the screen. He fits in with the amount of salary, and he's the highest projected guy. Now, we could have conversations about whether or not that's best for ownership, but I'm going to go ahead and click complete this lineup and just get him into the lineup. There he is, right in there. Interesting projection. There's something here. If you're into that number stuff, 77.77, 172.4 ownership. Just to compare that to the original, we have dropped 7 fantasy points. We've also dropped 35 ownership points. Curious to see where this lands. My first guess is that it's lower, but that ownership cut could be huge. And it is huge. 87% sim ROI, 0.4 to win, 2.8% top 10% lineup, 26% cash rate. That I think is the very important part here. This lineup has a very high ceiling. It also has a very low floor.
All right, third and final lineup. Well, for this video, if you're not on Tails yet, what are you doing? First of all, download the Tails app. We are climbing very quickly in the App Store charts. You love to see it because of what we're doing over there. Not only am I posting my picks free all season long over on Tails, make sure to follow Josh and myself for NBA, NFL bets, DFS content, an exclusive perfect lineup going up right there over on Tails. Make it number 4 instead of just the 3 you get in this video. But also the leaderboards where you can see who's killing it. You can see all of the long shot parlays, right? What's the closest thing to DFS? Parlays. And everything else. Ton of free content over there. All of mine is free. turn us on notifications, follow us, download the Tails app if you haven't done so yet. That is the key to all of this. It's going to make your life way easier every single day going forward in DFS and betting. Anyway, let's talk about this third lineup. I'm only going to put 3 in here. We put 4 in the first, we put 5 in the second. First time I've done it on this video. And then we're going to go with 3. And we're going to go Bo Nix. We're going to pair him with Troy Franklin, who, you know, is actually co-target leader with Cortland Sutton this year. Actually has more red zone targets and more end zone targets, believe it or not, than Sutton. Just been wildly inefficient, only caught 60% of his passes, and is only 2 of 14 on deep targets as well. But it doesn't matter, because this could be the game. And Troy Franklin, if you go on Pro Football Focus and you look at expected fantasy points, only 9 players, have less fantasy points than expected than he does. Fantasy points below expectation. He's right up there. Jerry Jeudy's at the top. I mean, it's been brutal. But Troy Franklin could be primed for a big game soon enough, and this is not a good secondary for the Las Vegas Raiders. And then, of course, we're throwing Brock Bowers in here. We'll get these 3. We're going to crank it to 20% randomness now and see what we get, because, let's be honest, Bo Nix with Franklin and Bowers is going to be a pretty popular core. Let's see if cranking up the randomness gives us what we're looking for.
I like the way that we're closing this one out. This is going to be really fun because there's no telling what these final 3 guys are going to be. We get Bo Nix into the captain spot, pulling very heavy ownership there as well. We get Brock Bowers and we get Troy Franklin. Franklin pairs very nicely, obviously, with Bo Nix. We've got $16,700 left. Great start. We're using 20% randomness to fill out these final 3 spots. Really anything can show up in this situation, and that's what gets really fun here. You can really start to mix and match these options, and you'll see a wide variety of sim ROIs come out of here. We're gonna have one right now, so let's see what it looks like. Evan Ingram, Geno Smith, Pat Bryant, 4-2 Broncos stack, 84.3 projection, 206 ownership. For reference, we are now at the same projection as the first lineup and 1 percentage point lower in ownership. It's feeling like this trio is going to end up in the 60s. Oof. No, not the 60s, the 20s. In fact, 21.2, 33% cash rate. I don't want to go out on that note. We're going to clear the lineup and we're going to complete this lineup again and see if we get a better final 3 pairing. Evan Ingram, Trey Tucker, Will Lutz. We're still running the 4-2. We're running a comparable projection and ownership once again. Not the combo I want. Mix it up a little bit. I'm clearing it again. This isn't the one. We need to be perfect. Let's complete this lineup. Ingram, Geno Smith, Michael Mayer, 85, 207. Right here. We're getting it. This is going to be the number 1. I'm feeling it. Show me the big number, 37.5. Maybe I'm not feeling it, but we still did do a bunch of different lineups here on the perfect lineup. Whether you're here for Raiders, whether you're here for Broncos, whether you're here for a mix of in between, there are plenty of good sim ROI lineups here that you can find, and there's no better place to find them than at the perfect lineup. There were a few of you that took Cowboys by 10, but that wasn't the answer. Only 2 of you got Cardinals by 10, and now you guys are spinning on the wheel. The winner here needs to email support@stokastic.com to claim the prize. It was a coin flip, but in this case, Corey Power, you have won. Take a screenshot right now, email support@stokastic.com, and claim your free week.